even though we admit that those challenges exist, there is also the other side of women not seeming to want to support other women, or women not liking women, which is also a challenge to seeing more women participating in politics, because politics is a game of support. Even if you are able, if you have the capacity to occupy an office, if you don't get the right support, you're not going to succeed. So I put it to you, is it real when people say women don't really like to support other women?
Thank you very much. You know, let's bury this statement once and for all. We are going to bury this statement now for the lie it is. We are going to, you know, what today we will lay it, you know, it will lie in state. We are going to bury it now. First of all, women are human beings. They like some people, they do not. That statement that women do not like each other is a male narrative. That is what it fans the ego, you know, of the male, that, oh, women don't like each other, they like me. Women don't, they are human beings just like the man. Men like some people, they don't like some others. Women like some people, they also don't like others. That is just how it is. You know, the expectation that because we are female, we are a homogeneous group is actually dehumanizing. There are females who are, you know, in this gender work who do not agree with my own idea of gender. Of the, you know, we're not a homogeneous group. There are women, you know, sisters who, for instance, do not support me coming on TV and talking about political issues. But there are also women, those people are also in this female movement of empowerment. Females are human beings. Let me tell you something. Did you know that this expectation, this statement that women do not like each other is a modern offshoot of what obtained under common law? Did you know that under common law, women were not allowed to enter into contracts because they said they lacked mental capacity? Yeah. That is what, you can't enter into contract. You don't understand anything that's being said. Yeah. When men do not like each other, what do? They shoot at each other. You know, but when women don't like each other, what do? They simply don't talk to each other. Everybody will know that they don't like. Women are human beings. They make choices. They make choices. All right. They like some, they don't like some, and so men do it too. I think it's a human virtue. It's something that inures to the human being. Even animals do it. Some dogs will like others, some dogs will not just like. Even children. Sometimes you see a child, you open your arms, the child will come in. And then someone say, that statement that women don't like each other is an extremely male, chauvinistic, archaic, divisive. I mean, it's the worst statement of the century. Let's not hear it again, ever.
All right. We have a communication expert sitting at this table with us.
No pressure.
Psychologists believe that women are more emotional than logical. That's what it is. And politics is more of a game of logic than emotion. Could that be, and correct me if I'm wrong, could that be one of the reasons it appears that women are not easily accepted in the game of politics? Or is it that women are unable to communicate their capacity to lead?
Probably need to take my time to think on this one. So first and foremost, let's deal with a couple of premises, right? Yeah. With respect to your question. One, I doubt, I'm not so certain if politics is more logical than emotional. I mean, in the era of 24 hours news and obviously politics happens within a context, you know, historical, social, cultural. You have to take cognizance of all of those things. Trying to appraise all of the factors that feed into the motivations that people have when they are on the cusp of making a political decision obviously requires you to be logical. But the point is, oftentimes the actual choice might actually be more emotional than we would care to admit. And the thing with emotions is that they are much harder to read because they are more bespoke, they are more customized, they are more individual. So you and I might feel the same emotion, but we might not necessarily engage with that emotion the same way, and it might motivate us to arrive at vastly different conclusions and therefore empowering us to make different decisions, as it were. That's the first part. The second part is, I think we probably should stop looking at emotion as a handicap, right? Emotions serve a purpose and a function. Without emotions, we would essentially be no different from robots and mechanical tools, right? Human beings are very complex. We're a tapestry of all sorts of things, our upbringings, our backgrounds, the things we expose ourselves to, things as subtle as the kind of languages that we speak, the kinds of music that we enjoy, you know, the kind of environmental influences that we open ourselves to, and all of those things feed in the larger sense of, you know, in the larger sense of the context to how we make our decisions. We were talking on Friday about how poverty could be a motivating factor in shaping how people engage with their franchise, their votes. You know, how if you are financially stressed, you're more likely to be motivated to sell your votes, right? The converse of that is, if you are more financially secure, you are more educated, you're probably more traveled, you're more vastly exposed, you will probably look, you know, you will probably consider your votes with a lot more tact, right? And precision. So coming back to the conversation around women and gender participation in politics, I think the fact that we say women are more emotional, women are probably more critical of themselves than others, which is the more elegant way of saying, you know, of posing your question, that women do not necessarily like themselves, which is the dominant narrative, would be that I think even for men, with respect to making political decisions, with respect to political participation, as it were, we are probably almost as likely to be as emotional as logical. I mean, take, for example, look at the shocking, you know, political headline that's emanated over the last 48 hours. The Senate president is not going back to the red chamber. There are lots of people that will receive that news viscerally, you know. There are lots of people that will receive that, you know, development on an emotional level. How is it that this astute political figure, who has been a major political figure in this country for getting on a decade plus, he just lost his seat like that. So when you think about it, really, there is an emotional component to politics that we sometimes de-emphasize.
All right, so this is not exactly to say being emotional is a weakness, like you rightly pointed out. We're trying to find answers because women are not enjoying the kind of participation or the kind of opportunities that one would expect as men have enjoyed in the political space. In 2 sentences or 3, I'd like to hear from you, Esther Ozoma. So, what are your recommendations?
All right. Moving forward, one thing you will know is that in the power game, power begets more power. Power begets more power. Power seeks to become more powerful. And power always sets the narrative. Power determines what we talk about. Power determines the environment in which we groom and grow. So that is also because women are not there already, you know, the patriarchal system is the norm. it will take legislation to give us, you know, 1 or 2 openings. And that's what we're calling for proportional representation. Otherwise, power will insist on maintaining a favorable status quo. That is, insisting on more male representation. So, legislation is one key thing. We must, you know, the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill that was sponsored by Senator Olujimi, you know, fortunately did not go through. But I'm sure that document will not die. Somehow it will be resurrected. When we should by legislation, because a lot of things are not, you know, we don't have it yet. So that when legislation gives us a platform, it gives us access, and then we can now reproduce according to our kind.
All right, that's
right
it.
now we are
That's
seeing
it.
men who are dominating the lawmaking chambers. They are insisting on laws that will perpetuate, you know. But then again, we must brace up as women to make serious demands on power.
All right, so we encourage you to brace up and continue to make that demand on society, on the political class, and the women folk, as it were. Thank you very much, Uzoma Esther, a legal practitioner and rights activist, national coordinator, Proactive Gender Initiative, speaking to us from our studios right there in Abuja. And back in Lagos, we have Ikemesit Effiong, communications expert. Thank you for being part of the verdict.